Hey guys, today I want to tell you about a murder that took place in the United States, but the person who was murdered was actually born in Ireland. His name was Jason Corbetts. And when Jason was young, he and his wife got married. They had a little boy and a little girl. And when their baby girl was just 3 months old, his wife died from an asthma attack. So I think it was in 2008, he placed an ad on the internet for a nanny. And a woman named Molly Martin replied to the ad. It's interesting when you watch all the documentaries about this case because in some of the documentaries they call her a medical student or they refer to her as planning on becoming a doctor. I think the truth is way far away from that, let me tell you. In one of the documentaries, she said that when she started college that she actually had to do homework and it was hard. So I highly doubt she was a medical student, and I highly doubt that she had what it takes to ever become a doctor. So I think it's an interesting little slant to the story. And then in other documentaries, they call her a model. They say she's a model. Like, really? Okay, so she's a model, so she wants to be a nanny. That doesn't make sense, but whatever. I don't know if she ever worked, quite frankly. But I think it's interesting that they tell so many ridiculous different stories about her. So she answers the ad, she accepts the job. They hadn't even met each other or anything, but she accepted the job and she flew off to Ireland. Sometimes people say that they slept together on the first night. Other times they say that it was a few nights after that. And other times they say that over time the relationship deepened and they became a couple. Yeah, okay, whatever. So she wanted to go back to the United States, evidently, so he was somehow able to be transferred, and he became the plant manager for one of the locations within his company. So they bought a nice house now, and close to where her parents lived. And so they set up shop, 2008, they met, 2011, they headed back to the United States, and they got married. Well, a few years later, after all well, probably about 5 or 6 years later, after all the wedded bliss and all evidently had worn off long before, she wanted to adopt his children, and he said no. And they evidently had a lot of fighting going on, even though the neighbors didn't know it. The neighbors thought he was just a super friendly guy and everything was great. According to Molly, he was an abuser. He was also a drunk, according to Molly. And I think it was her dad, or maybe it was her lawyer, who said he was a mean drunk. So Molly's mom and dad come to visit, and they're staying overnight. And Molly says that he woke up in the night and he smothered her and choked her. He was strangling her. And she screamed, which is kind of hard to do if you're getting strangled, by the way. But she screamed, and her dad heard her scream and grabbed the bat that he had brought supposedly for a gift for the child. That doesn't make sense to me. If you're bringing your grandson a baseball bat as a gift, then when you get there, you give it to him, right? Well, Molly's dad had the baseball bat evidently in the bedroom that he and his wife were sleeping in, and his wife evidently stayed right in the bedroom, which I thought was interesting. Well, he says he went into the bedroom and he saw his son-in-law strangling his daughter. And let me grab my piece of paper here because I wrote it down. It was kind of interesting the way he said it. Let's see. Because, oh, hang on just a second. Wrong side. Okay. Molly's dad says that he had Molly by the throat, and he said, "Let her go." And he did call him a mean drunk. And he said it again, "Let her go." And he said that his son-in-law said, "I'm going to kill her." So he said he grabs the bat. Well, didn't he already have the bat in his hand? I mean, I don't know if he's running up the stairs with a bat in his hand. He says he grabs the bat. Oh, wait, I'm wrong. I'm confused. He did have the bat in his hand. He's saying that his son-in-law grabbed the bat out of his hand. So he's choking his daughter, and then poof, he grabs the bat out of his hand. He says he grabs the bat and he knocks me on the ground. So he's strangling his daughter, and then he looks evidently and thinks, what are you doing? Grabs the guy's bat just magically. That must have been interesting to just so easily be able to grab a bat with someone standing there with a bat to defend himself, right? Oh, especially Molly's dad is a retired FBI agent. So I don't know how Molly's husband was so easily able to just reach over and grab the bat, but he evidently grabbed the bat, knocked his father-in-law on the ground. His father-in-law said that he got back up and he hit him. Oh, he also said that he got the bat back. Let's follow that again. So Molly's dad runs into the room holding a bat. Her husband, who she claims was strangling her, grabbed the bat and knocked her dad on the ground. And then her dad says that he got the bat back and he hit him. Now that's a pretty interesting transfer of that bat twice. Do you believe it? Jason died from 12 slams to the head. And it wasn't just the bat either. 12. Yeah, you heard me right. Molly joined in and hit her husband over the head with a paving stone, which just happened to be on her nightstand. Yeah. She said it was on her nightstand because she and the children were going to paint it. They were going to paint paving stones and then put flowers and paving stones around the mailbox. So I'm not sure why it was on her nightstand. Just like I'm not sure why the bat wouldn't have already been given to the child. There's an interesting part, too, about this case. They were talking about what a drunk he was, even though he's dead, he can't defend himself. And look at this, another case that we're talking about, where they're actually talking about a person who's dead who can't defend himself. Interesting. And if you've been following this channel, then you know what I'm saying. But the part about the drinking that's really interesting is Molly and her dad both say he was a drunk. Molly said he was drunk the night they were fighting right before he was killed. Guess what his BAC level was? 0.02. But wait, Molly and her dad both said he was drunk, right? And his BAC was only 0.02? Get this. The experts, the scientists, say that the BAC can actually decrease after death. Well, isn't that different than what we've been told on another case, huh? Interesting. Very interesting, actually. I think it's also interesting that two separate documentaries have two completely different storylines going. Because evidently, people have different opinions about what happened in this case. My opinion? is I think that Molly Martin had a lot of problems long before she decided to become a nanny. And I think that after he married her in 2011, I think he probably saw a different side to her than what he had seen before they got married. I think he was planning on leaving her, which was said in one of the documentaries that he was leaving her and returning to Ireland with his children. She was pushing to adopt his children, and he said no. Instead, he was leaving her. And I think that she decided that she wasn't going to be left. After Molly and her father killed her husband, she actually had the audacity to try to fight for custody of the children, which of course she lost. Her husband's sister came from Ireland and won custody of the kids. And after she lost custody, she started posting crap on Facebook, putting herself out there as the mother of the year. All over Facebook. Pictures of the kids everywhere. And you know what? A judge ordered her to stop it. She was court ordered not to post photos of the children on social media. Did she bother removing the photos after the court ordered her to not post photos on social media? No, they're still online. Molly and her father were both convicted, I think it was of voluntary manslaughter. Just my opinion. I'm surprised they weren't charged and convicted of murder.